City, long known and celebrated as the symbol of the American dream, where immigrants have a rich history, where many undocumented people call home, where dreamers, asylum seekers, and those with temporary protected status work to make a name for themselves, where most recently more than 200,000 migrants have come in pursuit of a better life, a sanctuary city with a long reputation as a safe haven.
We
don't know what's going to happen, said this woman as she was about to enter the Immigration and Customs Enforcement building in Lower Manhattan for an appointment on a January morning. Her tone documenting the uncertainty many are dealing with in the face of the new Trump administration and the promise of mass deportations. Mayor Adams had this to say last week.
We want to bring down the anxiety. We want our immigrants to know that this is a city of immigrants. This is a country of immigrants. It's imperative that you go to school, use the hospital service, use the police services.
Fox 5 News recently obtained an internal NYPD memo from the police commissioner to the force dated January 18, 2025. It says the fact that a person is present in the United States without lawful authorization is a civil matter, not a crime. It reminds police that city law prohibits local immigration enforcement, although the memo also states the department investigates criminal activity without regard to a person's immigration status and works with the feds on criminal investigations. New York City's status as a sanctuary city traces back to the 1980s, with different orders and laws introduced under different mayors over the years. Mayor Adams has been vocal about supporting a rollback of sanctuary laws. Peter Markowitz is an immigration justice expert and a professor of law at the Benjamin N. Cardozo School of Law.
What it means is New York City has a cluster of laws, several laws that have been passed between 2011 and 2017 that collectively say deportation is not the job of New York City. Deportations undermine city families, they undermine city communities, and they undermine public safety. And so what our laws say is that the NYPD cannot be involved in deportation operations, the Department of Corrections cannot be involved in deportation operations, and the city is going to divorce itself from what it sees as misguided federal immigration enforcement efforts.
New York City sits on a long list of cities and states with sanctuary status. While New York State, Connecticut, and New Jersey are on the sanctuary list, many states, including Georgia, Florida, and Texas, have anti-sanctuary laws. There is no single definition of sanctuary city or state. Generally, it means some protections are in place when it comes to coordination with federal authorities. Weighing in, Naina Gupta, the policy director at the American Immigration Council.
The reality is that many sanctuary policies around the country protect immigrants only in name. They're mostly symbolic. They don't actually prevent local police officers or local authorities from transferring immigrants into the hands of federal immigration authorities.
From Boston to Chicago to New York City, we're seeing federal raids in sanctuary cities across the nation. The Newark mayor outraged after a raid at a fish market in the Ironbound section, an area long known in the sanctuary city as a place with a large undocumented community.
Some ICE agents raided a business in our city without a warrant. When I got this information, I was appalled.
The administration says it's focusing on criminals first, the worst of the worst. But anybody in the country unauthorized should take heed.
It's a big culture shift in our nation to view someone who breaks our immigration laws as a criminal, but that's exactly what they are.
From an executive order blocking birthright citizenship to ending refugee arrivals and deportation flights to declaring an emergency at the southern border, shutting it down to asylum seekers while sending 1,500 armed troops to help enforce security and work logistics, President Trump is clearly making moves toward his immigration crackdown and deportation promises.
Mucho miedo.
A lot of fear, says this man from Ecuador. It's the kind of fear humanitarians are pushing back on, especially those who wish to protect the sanctuary sentiment.
We've been dealing with hysteria of mass deportation, of people feeling that any local law enforcement or any law enforcement that they see may be ICE.
In response to new guidelines by the new administration allowing ICE agents to go into sensitive areas like churches and schools, a church on the Upper West Side has its message to the feds on its door. And a group of faith leaders and teachers gathered at the Cathedral Church of St. John the Divine in Manhattan for a news conference, united in their message.
We continue our traditions of caring for everybody,
of welcoming everybody.
So help me God.
As President Trump's 4 years in the White House have just begun, the future will reveal the reality of New York City's sanctuary status and the future of all the sanctuary cities and states in the nation. Stephanie Bertini, Fox 5 News.